on 39 minutes opening the scoring. Cavaliero scoring on 72 minutes to level up for Monaco, the French Principality. Tottenham 2, Anderlecht 1. Harry Kane on 29 minutes with a nice low finish opening the scoring. Ezekiel equalising on 72 minutes, and Moussa Dembele, quality goal on 87 minutes. Legit goal of the week contender. Nicely done there. Shifting on to Friday, 6th of November 2015. Sky Bet Championship, Nottingham Forest 1, Derby County 0. Castro Oliveira scoring on 5 minutes, the only goal of that game. And also in the Emirates FA Cup first round, big time upset. This game was actually moved for TV, which I've got my view on, but I won't articulate that now. But it was a case of Salford City 2, Notts County 0. And we got to give a big shout out to one of Pitch Talk's longest standing supporters, fans, and altogether wrong'uns, because he's one half of the tag team champions of the world of being a wrong'un, and that is Thomas Hewitt, aka Big T, aka the Sweet Talker. It is one of them. Was big shout outs to Big T. Yeah, his team went down 2-0. Weber on 46 minutes and Allen on 73 minutes. The second goal, wow. Goal of the week contender. How you beat 3 players at once. No right. Absolutely no right to do that. Speaking of that, actually, speaking of quality goals, Neymar's on the weekend against Villarreal. So, I think it was against Villarreal. Wow. Got some really good goals actually to pick from for stuff of the week, which is later on in the show as well. But Salford City 2, Notts County 0. Big time upset. The draw for the second round of the FA Cup we will come back to as well, because there's an interesting little sidebar about where that was hosted. But it's one of them was the FA Cup first round. We're just going to skim through these results, actually, because there's a lot of them. Accrington 3, York 2, Wimbledon 1, Forest Green 2, Altrincham 1, Barnsley 0, Barnet 2, Blackpool 0, Barwell 0, Welling 2, Burton 0, Peterborough 3, Bury 4, Wigan 0, Cambridge 1, Basingstoke Town 0, Coventry City 1, Northampton Town 2, Crawley Town 1, Luton Town 2, Crewe Alexandra 0, Eastleigh 1, Dagenham Redbridge 0, Morecambe 0, Doncaster 2, Staley Bridge Celtic 0. I love the fireworks in the background. Dover 1, Stourbridge 2, Grimsby 5, St Albans City 1, Hartlepool 1, Cheltenham Town 0, Leyton Orient 6, Staines Town 1. By the way, big shout out to Two Men in Search of the Beautiful Game on Facebook, aka Daniel Magner and Tom Sparks. They were actually down at that Leyton Orient game, so it's one of them was big time shout outs to them. Where were we? Yeah, we were at Leyton Orient, Staines Town. Mansfield 0, Oldham 0, Millwall 3, AFC Fylde 1, Northwich Victoria 1, Borehamwood 1, Plymouth 0, Carlisle 2, Portsmouth 2, Macclesfield 1, Rochdale 3, Swindon 1, Scunthorpe 2, Southend 1. Big shout out to Tom Wood. Sorry about your luck, man. Sheffield United 3, Worcester City 0, Stevenage 3, Gillingham 0. I know Mike Harniman will be happy about that. We're going to come back to that in a minute. Walsall 2, Fleetwood 0, Wealdstone 2, Colchester 6. Swinging on, actually, staying with Saturday. Sky Bet Championship, Huddersfield 0, Leeds 3. Big time result. And we know that a couple of Leeds fans here will be very happy with that. But Antonucci on 45+5 and was also booked on 45+6. But as well, and then was 45+7. Wood scored, and Moat rounded out the scoring on 54 minutes to give Leeds a convincing win against Huddersfield. Managerless Huddersfield, it must be said. Well, actually, no. I think they actually already have got someone in. But anyway, there's a lot more to that story than meets the eye. Blackburn 1, Brentford 1. Vibe on 24 minutes opening scoring. Lawrence equalising for Blackburn at Ewood Park. Bolton 0, Bristol City 0. Brighton 2, MK Dons 1. March on 5 minutes. Murphy on 19 minutes, sending Brighton into a 2-0 lead. But Maynard scoring on 23 minutes to pull one back for MK Dons, but it wasn't enough for the draw. Cardiff 2, Reading 0. Kenwyne Jones on 44 minutes and Connolly on 53 minutes round out the scoring there. Charlton 3, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Jackson on 26 minutes. Mac Enoch on 45 minutes. And Guchenajad on 55 minutes, rounding out Charlton's goal scoring, but Forestieri got one back on 73 minutes for Sheffield Wednesday. Fulham 2, Birmingham 5. Gleeson on 19 minutes. Caddis from the penalty spot on 22. Torrell on 31. And Husband was booked on 48, sent off on 49. Kaczyniglich was on the score sheet on 66 minutes, but Clayton Donaldson scored on 82 minutes. Ross McCormack scored on 90 plus 3, and Solomon Otabo scored on 90 plus 5. As well. Hull City 3, Middlesbrough 0. Diame on 44 minutes, Klukas on 67 minutes, and Huddleston on 83 minutes. Ryan Sonley, sorry about your luck, man. It is one of them ones where QPR 0, Preston 0, Rotherham 2, Ipswich 5. Pittman on 8 minutes, Douglas on 22, Murphy on 43 and 48. Barker getting one back for Rotherham on 56. Matt Derbyshire getting Rotherham's second goal on 59, and Murphy completing his hat-trick on 72 minutes. Wolves 0, Burnley 0 as well. It is one of them ones. That was manic. Any of the PT family want to jump in on Saturday, 7th of November's results so far? Ryan Sonley, have at it.
I'm going to jump in on the Salford game first because I watched that, and to be honest, Salford dominated Notts County. Sorry, Big T. I'll show them Big T's up though. Beer. But I thought Salford were the better side. I mean, they worked really hard. Their second goal, how did he do it? I was just really shocked. I mean, he took out 3 professional players, laid it inside and scored the return. I was like, am I watching professional footballer here? But no, I was actually really shocked, and I'm glad that Salford got through. Plymouth losing to Carlisle. I'd rather lose in the cups and go through to win the league, hopefully go on to win the league. Middlesbrough, I don't know where to start with this one. Hull were the strongest team in the league by far, and they deserve to be back up in the Prem. I mean, they didn't, so obviously Sam Greenham gets a big mention there. 3-0 victory for him. Also, I watched Exeter. Well, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, who else is joining? Is there any of the other Skypers wanting to jump in on what we've gone through so far? Russ Vernon, have at it. I mean, 2 wins on the bounce for Leeds United.
Yeah, they were Liam. Fantastic goal from Alex Mart against Cardiff, 25 yards out. Goal of the week contender for me, which is a fantastic goal. And it was a fantastic team performance. Belushi came in because Bamba was suspended. Wootton came in as they wanted to try a bit different in the defence as well. And Wootton played well. Belushi actually played well again in midweek against Cardiff. They kept the places at the weekend. It was the same team that played against Huddersfield from the game against Cardiff. And again, Belushi and Cooper played well in central defence. Even when Cooper went off for a clash of heads with Scott Wootton, Stoll Bamba played well alongside Belushi. Belushi, for me, early in the season, I didn't like him. I was slagging him off on Facebook. And for me, since his past 2 performances, he's put in 2 decent performances and 2 good performances of the season for me. Defensively, he's done very, very well, and he's looked good defensively. And then straight after the game on Saturday, watching Leeds on TV, I went down to the ACL New York Stadium to report for a bit of a radio show that I'm doing at college, Liam, for one of my units. And Rotherham, where can I start with them? Paul Green, for me, doesn't deserve a place in the Rotherham team. For the first goal, he had the ball on the edge of the box, and instead of turning and clearing it downfield, what does he do? Tries and plays it back, and Collins got closed down quickly. Shaw got blocked out wide, and ball into him, and then he opened the scoring for Ipswich, and then Hordiff mistake again from Green for the second goal for Ipswich, which Jonathan Douglas fired home from, and then it was a fantastic third goal for Ipswich as well. Those 3 goals are in front of me. In the second half, brilliant goal from Brandon Barker for me. He got named man of the match by the sponsors, and Riley Slade was the perfectly man of the match for me. The way man of the match would be Down Murphy for me. First 3 goals of the season for him at the weekend, and so it was a fantastic team performance for Ipswich. Ipswich have been struggling a little. Rotherham, they're struggling at the moment. Like Kieran said, Salford City played well. They deserved to win. So Big T as well. And fantastic team performance from Salford. And going on to tonight's FA Cup game, Liam, it's 2-0 Chesterfield at half time. Gabal Irabe and Lee Novak with the goals on 7 and 12 minutes respectively in that game this evening. The winners of that tie will be at home to Walsall in the next round of the FA Cup.
No, good stuff on that one. I mean, hey, Leeds United 2 wins on the bounce, but turmoil at the top. And for those who actually don't know, Chelino actually pulled out of the deal to sell Leeds. At least 2 Leeds fans United, anyway. So as we tweeted last week, it is a case of we kind of question whether he'd do it or not last week, and well, there's a few words that I'm not going to say, but anyway, so one of them was Mike Harniman. You wanted to jump in on the results that have gone through so far?
Yeah, I think our game against Gillingham was a real shock. It shocked me the way we've been performing in recent weeks. Obviously last week on the show I kind of mentioned that we got battered 5-1 at home to Oxford. And then we kind of turn it round in the FA Cup against the League One leaders, the hardest team we could have got, really, and just dominate them. Start to finish, we were the better side. Shuey with his second goal in a couple of weeks as well, after coming in for Tong, who's suspended. That was quite a nice finish as well from him. Whelpdale's was a decent enough goal as well. And then Angela's goal at the end was, just Dean Parrott's hard work running through, and then just sort of unselfishly squaring it across to him, and it was 3-0. So very surprised with that one. I thought we played some very good stuff as well, and just delighted with the way that the game went. And we're away to Yeovil in the next round, and that's a very winnable game as well for me. So if we can use this to sort of push on a bit in the league as well, and take this form into the league, take it to Yeovil on Saturday in the league, and to Bristol as well, Bristol Rovers next week, and use the form and sort of stick with the same side and get the same kind of football on show that we had Saturday. I really think we can push up the table a bit as well. So we need to use that as the catalyst for better things now, really.
Well, I mean, it's always good. It's always good to use. It's always good to have some sort of springboard to actually jump off from. So it's one of them. It's not too bad. Not too bad. I mean, Kieran Riley, you wanted to jump in as well, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I wanted to jump in on the Wolves-Burnley game, which happened on Saturday. I wasn't, unfortunately, due to work. But I have just watched the results no less than about an hour ago before I came on. And I must say, it was an interesting game. We had a few chances. They had a few chances. They didn't score, which we're happy about. We didn't lose again. But some of the chances we have, some of the open goals we had when the linesman missed that we were offside, clearly offside, was unreal, and we still missed them, which is really, 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 really annoying considering we need to fight for the playoffs. But I must say, overall, we played well. Defending was good at points, bad at others. I know goalkeeper wasn't too happy with what was going on at one of the attacks that Burnley gave. Martinez wasn't happy. But overall, I think it was a good result, respectable. Thank you to all the fans that did pay respect in our little 2-minute silence that we did hold at Molineux on Saturday, which was, from what I saw in the video, very good respect, like us all, like what happened last year when we had it the same day as the Birmingham City game, which turned out to be quite a problem. But overall, yeah, it was a good game.
I mean, Ryan Sonley wanted to jump in as well.
Well, I forgot to say that last week when Mike was saying that Stevenage had been battered by Oxford 5-1, I always had faith that they would beat Gillingham. Look what they did. How do you feel, Mike? They won 3-0 in the FA Cup.
He's trying to rub it in like a masseuse. So how do you feel? One of them ones. But it's one of them was all swipes. Oh crap! That's a good one. Mike Harniman's just replied with, "How do you feel we're actually still in the FA Cup?" Good comeback. Good comeback. One of them ones come back. Good comeback. But you know what? Let's shift on to staying with Saturday, 7th of November 2015. Jump up to the Premier League. Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 1. Jose Perez with the only goal of the game on 27 minutes. Well, it's one of them was after Newcastle. That was their first shot on goal. Boom, goal. It is mad. Boy, they had been dominated by Bournemouth up until that point and for most of the first half, in all honesty. I actually watched this before the Ibis Eagles 5s versus HSBC game. So it was one of them was nuts. Leicester 2, Watford 1. Leicester continuing their brilliant form. Kante on 52 minutes opening the scoring with Jamie Vardy, that man of the moment at the minute, scoring on 65 minutes. Troy Deeney scoring a penalty on 75 minutes. Man United 2, West Brom 0. Jesse Lingard on 52 minutes and Juan Mata scoring a penalty on 91 minutes. Gareth McCauley was sent off on 91 minutes. And you know what? Yeah. Stonewall penalty. It was a stonewall penalty. And Juan Mata looked in inspired form in that number 10 role. It's one of them was that is clearly his best role and always has been. Norwich 1, Swansea 0. Johnny Howson with the only goal of the game on 70 minutes. Sunderland 0, Southampton 1. Dusan Tadic with the only goal of the game from the penalty spot. And suffice to say that Sam Allardyce was not happy when that penalty was given away. Sloppy challenge. West Ham 1, Everton 1. Lanzini opening the scoring on 30 minutes with an easy goal of the week contender. What a finish. Composure and just tremendous. But Romelu Lukaku equalised on 43 minutes with a good finish of his own. Stoke City 1, Chelsea 0. Let's repeat that. Stoke City 1, Chelsea 0. An acrobatic finish from Arnautovic. With the only, it was the only goal of the game on 53 minutes. Now, if that win against Kiev in midweek bought Mourinho time, this one took that time away. It was one of them was, from all accounts, Stoke were actually the better team for most of that match as well. But Chelsea did miss some absolute sitters. But Stoke 1, Chelsea 0 was just a surprise result. It really was. Adding to the woes of Chelsea. One that was bringing the tear to the old glass eye. But moving on to Sunday, 8th of November 2015, Aston Villa 0, Man City 0. No goals in this, but a shed load of chances. Man City should really have pounded Villa into the ground on this, but it's one of them with some of the chances hitting the bar a couple of times as well. I mean, Sterling had a brilliant chance. I mean, Guzan was in inspired form as well. But madness. G-Man, next result's yours. You want to take it? NLD?
Yeah, sorry. NLD, Arsenal versus Tottenham. Arsenal 1, Tottenham 1, and as alluded to before the Bayern Munich match, pretty much the same sort of performance by Arsenal. It was poor overall. Tottenham with a very good first half. They were just you might as well say they were faster. They looked more confident. Their passes seem to be more effective. And when we talk about passes being effective, we talk about the first goal, of which Harry Kane scored, poor defending by Koscielny, who basically he could have stepped up quicker if he was watching the position of Kane, or he could have moved. He could have actually been tight with Harry Kane, in all honesty, but he wasn't. He stepped up too late. Harry Kane beat the offside trap, and I've got to say it was a pretty good goal. With the way Harry Kane, hit into the turf and it bounced over Czech's leg rather than blasting it, where it could have just ricocheted off Czech's legs, if you get what I mean there. And people in the pitch talk, Skype chat. But after all that domination, Arsene Wenger was decisive. He saw that Santi Cazorla wasn't his same old self, because Santi did look pretty troubled in that midfield, getting bullied by the likes of Eriksen and Dembele quite a lot in the first half. And Arsene Wenger decided that he was going to bring on Flamini, which he did. And big shout out to Nick Patel, who actually called that substitution. Me and him were talking at half time, and he was saying, look, Santi just doesn't look up to it. There's something wrong with him. Arsene Wenger needs to bring on Flamini. We were actually quite cracking a joke, because we actually thought the bench, Arsenal's bench, was looking pretty weak, and there was no one, actually to bring on the field who looked like they could bring a real impetus to the game. However, Flamini, in all honesty, he put in a shift when he came on, and the game's dynamics, from my point of view, it slowly started to change from the off. Tottenham still, they still playing their game. They was causing a lot of trouble. Harry Kane had a few shots, one of which was parried away by Peter Cech, another which he put wide of the goal when he was through on goal again. However, slowly the wheels started to turn when Arsene Wenger swapped Joel Campbell for and brought on Kieran Gibbs. Gibbs moved to the left-hand side, pushed Sanchez to the right. And, it was from that moment really where, Gibbs brought the fresh legs. You just started to notice that Tottenham was starting to play, trying to waste time. When the balls were going out, they were wasting time. Danny Rose was holding onto the ball longer, or doing silly stuff like kicking the ball forward, referee sending them back, keeper holding the ball for Begovic was holding the ball longer than a keeper should do. And to be honest, my own personal opinion is Tottenham brought the pressure upon themselves. They allowed us to get back into the game. Ozil effectively setting up Kieran Gibbs for the Arsenal goal, where he whips in the ball from outside the 18-yard box into a dangerous area between the defender and the goalkeeper, and Kieran Gibbs gets it onto the end of it and just pokes it before the defender could get to him, and pokes it past the keeper, Luis, who, did get a hand to it, but just couldn't keep it out. And from there on, I was discussing on my Facebook wall with the likes of Nathan McCree, Marvin, even Gideon Barnett, the fact that the last 15 minutes was literally in Arsenal's hands. And, Lloris made a few good saves, which, saved Tottenham from having real blushes on their face, because in a game which they should have won, with the way they played in the first half, they effectively, lost out on 2 points.
It is one of them ones where it's like, in the North London derby, it's always going to be, to an extent, blood and thunder, but it's like the amount of chances in it, it was like bloody hell. Giroud is one of them strikers on a general basis who needs 4 chances to score. I think that's usually about the ratio for him. But yeah, he did miss a couple of real sitters. There was one header in particular, and it was like, how has he missed that? He's got to bury that one. So it's been an interesting one. Mike Harniman, you want to jump in on North London derby as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got to agree with Gav, really. I think Tottenham were the better team. I don't like saying that, but they were. They were on top for probably about 70, 75 minutes. They bossed us in the midfield all the way through the first half. I think that was down to Cazorla not being at the races really as well. Coquelin wasn't his usual self. He looked all right, but nothing compared to like how he did against Man City in that last season or Man United earlier this season. And players like Ericsson for Spurs were getting too much time on the ball. Chadley as well. Dembele. Obviously, Harry Kane took his goal pretty well, but that was obviously Koscielny's mistake. But I just think Tottenham were the better side, and we got out of jail in that one, really. Obviously, the last 15 minutes, we grew into it a bit. Obviously, with Gibbs coming on and, going a bit more with Gibbs on the left-hand side for Campbell and swapping over Ozil to the opposite side. Not Ozil, sorry. Alexis to the opposite side as well, which kind of helped in our favour. But I just think, with all these injuries and that at the moment, it's just so difficult because obviously when you go 1-0 down, it takes a lot out of you anyway. And you got players like Ozil who's going to be working hard. Alexis, who's been working hard all season with no rest whatsoever. And, players like that need rest but can't get any.
I mean, it is one of them, but then that's where squad depth starts to come into it because at the end of the day, I mean, you could have if you'd have bought maybe a couple more players in the summer, you might not have this issue. But then, I guess almost to an extent, you got to look at how players are taking care of their bodies because if players are just dropping like flies.
It's more and more every week though. If you look yesterday, Debussy's injured for a little while now by the looks of it as well. He's gonna be out for a couple of weeks after that challenge from Chadley. I think possibly Cazorla might be out for a week or so, depending on what's wrong with him. It's more injuries that we don't need.
No, definitely. I mean, it's an interesting one. I mean, it is an interesting one to say the very least, but
to be honest, with injuries, we are bitterly unlucky. But the same thing's happening to all teams across the Premiership. You look at the likes of Man City; they pick up injuries, they deal with it. And like you said, Liam, it's about squad depth. Maybe they've got better squad depth, but still, it's not just about squad depth; it's about confidence. When you're bringing in players who aren't actually playing, who feel they might should be playing, they might not be as confident, and it don't matter how good you are, you just won't perform to your full capacity. And honestly, you can see that with Debussy at the moment. And that is partly our problem. But again, you got to look at it. You got to say these players have to back up their ideas because how are you going to get into the team if you're not performing?
Well, yeah, if you look at who we've got on the bench as well, though, we've got like Alex Iwobi on the bench, youth players who are nowhere near ready for first team football that have to be called up to the bench because we've got no other option. So obviously that's the fact that we didn't actually go out and spend, apart from signing Czech in January. That's a real major downfall with all these injuries at the moment, which Finger would have known because we've had injury problems for seasons now. That he has to do something in the transfer window in January because at this rate, if we get any more injuries whatsoever, we can't even field a proper squad. We can't even have a first choice 11 out there.
Well,
not even a first choice 11, but an experienced 11.
I just want to say my views on youth team players is it's a bit unfair to say they're not ready if you've kept them in and around the squad and they're training with them. They obviously are ready. And the likes of Martial, you can see it with Man United. All right, yeah, he had a 36 million contract on his head. He was pretty much of getting fed through, at Monaco, and to come to a club like Manchester United and be relied on, you can only get confidence through playing games. And like look at Lingard, he had the pie in front of him and he's taken his chance when he's got it. So that's what it's all about.
But if you put Iwobi on the bench, why is Finger not bringing him on then? He's an attacking option, the only attacking option we've got. If you're saying that Finger needs to get him into the games to actually get him experienced and get him to know the Premier League and to know the side and whatever, he has to come on Sunday.
That's a good point. Maybe against a weaker team. Against Tottenham, I think it's a bit risky. It's a bit like when we threw Bellerin in against Dortmund last season, where he absolutely got roasted. But look where he is now.
But you know what? It is one of them ones. I mean, all it is, from what I'm gleaning from this conversation, it's just about opportunity and grasping that opportunity with both hands. And if you ain't given an opportunity how are you ever going to grasp it? That's where I would leave that. Speaking of opportunity, actually, the FA Cup second round draw took place earlier tonight, and big time shout out to the 14 SAL. That's the word 14 at 14 the word and SAL. It's one of them was because one of it was actually a 14 SAL side that hosted the second round draw, and that was Civil Service FC. We tweeted a couple of days ago when we found out about it, but yeah, Civil Service FC of the 14 Southern Amateur League actually hosted the FA Cup second round draw. So big time shout outs to them at CSFC 1863 on Twitter. Is Civil Service FC on Twitter. So a huge shout out to them. Great bit of promotion for them as well. And that second round draw for the FA Cup is as follows. Aldershot / Bradford City versus Cheshire United, Barnet versus Brackley Town or Newport County, Peterborough v Luton, Portsmouth v Accrington Stanley, Stourbridge versus Eastleigh, Northampton Town versus Northwich / Boreham Wood, Exeter versus Port Vale / Maidenhead United, Cambridge United versus Doncaster Rovers, Grimsby versus Shrewsbury, Yeovil Town versus Stevenage, Rochdale versus Bury, Welling United versus Carlisle, Leyton Orient versus Scunthorpe, Millwall versus Wickham, Colchester United versus Altrincham, FC United of Manchester or Chesterfield against Walsall. That FC United v Chesterfield match is ongoing right now. Sheffield United versus Mansfield Town or Oldham. Salford City face Hartlepool, and Dagenham, Redbridge or Morecambe play against Whitehawk, and Braintree or Oxford versus Forest Green. So those second round ties will be played across the weekend of the 4th to 7th of December 2015. Anyone jumping in on that FA Cup second round draw before we move on? Russ, you want to have at it?
Yes, I do, Liam, because I just want to say I had a look at the draw when he was coming out on BBC earlier, and I must say, like Brad said, Civil Service did a fantastic job of hosting the draw, so congratulations to them. For me, I think Oxford have got another decent tie. I think they can, if they play like they did on Friday night against Notts County, then I think they're going to cause Oxford a few problems. The way this game's going at the moment, it looks like it's going to be Chesterfield going through to be facing Walsall. They're currently leading 2-0 after 58 minutes away to FC United of Manchester right now, Liam. Also, I think Yeovil against Stevenage will be a tasty tie. I think Stevenage will probably win that one in the FA Cup, but lose out in the league this coming weekend. So to say, Mike, I think Portsmouth against Accrington looks a tasty tie. Cheshire United, they did well yesterday, knocking out Bristol Rovers. And also to Bradford, that's going to be a decent tie for them. I can't see either of them, if they get through, being an easy tie, because Cheshire United held their own yesterday. They missed a penalty, but they got through in the end and fully deserved to go through. So I think actually non-league sides that have gone through so far forced to replay like Maidenhead United did in the last minute against Port Vale yesterday, Liam. There's going to be some tough ties for the opponents who they've got coming up against. So like if Whitehawk, whoever they're facing, either Dagenham, Redbridge or Morecambe, they're going to cause them a few problems because they looked strong yesterday. So it's going to be a tough few games. But for me, the pick of the round in that one, Liam, is Salford City against Oxford United, class of 92 versus Jeff Stelling.
You know what? The one thing, because I actually didn't get to see that game live because I was working, but it was one of them ones where the one thing I did ask a couple of guys, and especially a big shout out to Dan Khan, one of my teammates in the Ibis Eagles 5. I did ask him and a couple of the other guys in terms of the coverage. Was it more about Salford or was it more about the class of 92? For me, it should be all about Salford City, not the owners. similar to Leeds United. Shouldn't be about Cellino. It should be about the team on the pitch, even if they are putting in -5 stars performances every week. But still, apparently it was very much kind of 50-50 in terms of whether it was about the class of 92 or about Salford City, which is actually kind of concerning in all honesty. But hey, it's one of them ones. A few fans who didn't know about Salford City before now do know about them. So I guess that's a positive. It's just as long as they can hold on to them after the glitz and glamour and the cameras have gone. That's the interesting bit. But yeah, I mean, Mike Harniman has just said it was too much about a class of 92. They panned straight over to them when they scored. So it's one of them ones that's that the players should be reveling in their moment rather than it being about someone else who ain't even playing. But that's my view on it. I mean, Ryan Sonley, you wanted to jump in on the second round draw as well.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in. Unfortunately, we got knocked out by Carlisle, who got Welling in the second round. But me, Mike, Russ actually did 3 attempts at a preliminary draw. The first one we got 2 right with another 1 right, but the team's the wrong way around. The second one we got 1 right, and the third one we got 1 right, but it was the wrong way around again. So, I mean, I thought it was just worth a good attempt at doing it because we did it by a number generator and all that, and it was pretty funny how we did it. But it worked, and we thought, well, this is going to happen. And we were glad that we actually got at least one of the games right. But I can see Salford being a team against Hartlepool. I think that's going to be one of the games that are going to be televised alongside with Northampton game as well, because Northampton need the money and they need it desperately.
No, very much so. And actually, funnily enough, we actually tweeted out earlier in the week in terms of there is a Save the Cobblers campaign going at the moment. And a big time shout out to at Richie G360 on Twitter. There is a #Save the Cobblers campaign going. And yeah, it is a case of it is one of them was at Save the Cobblers on Twitter is a Twitter account trying to save Northampton Town. So it is one of them was where a big shout out to that, and also I said a big shout out to at Richie G360 as well. So it's one of them was no one wants to see a club go down, especially not us. It's about keeping clubs. It's about keeping clubs and helping clubs to survive as well. Yeah, Ryan, did you want to mention someone about Northampton Town?
I'd like to big shout out to Adebayo Akinfenwa for donating his match 1 hat-trick shirt for Northampton, and a big shout out to Sarah Turner and her son, who has donated a signed shirt, and her 6-year-old son, who's donated match 1 boots to fund some money for Northampton Town.
No, good stuff. I mean, Mike Harniman, you wanted to jump in on Stevenage Yeovil as well.
Yeah, there's actually a couple of other draws that look pretty good as well. Starwood Bridge and Eastleigh, all non-league as well. One of them is going to be, getting a nice round 3 draw. Hopefully they can draw a big team whoever wins that one. The likes of Peterborough and Luton, that looks like it could be quite a tasty game as well. Both sides there are pretty decent. There's also Welling and Carlisle. I think Welling got a decent enough side to cause an upset there possibly. And Forest Green as well, whether it's Braintree or Oxford they end up playing. You've seen what they can do in the FA Cup already from Saturday. So, there's a couple of ties there. Our game, I think, is going to be very interesting. I've only been to Yeovil once and we won that 6-0, so I'll take that one again very, very happily. But I think it's going to be a completely different game. And, the way we played against Gillingham, if we can play like that, then I'll be very, very pleased, and I'd see us getting something from it. If not, getting the all-important win and going through to round 3 ourselves. So be pleased with that. And I'm quite pleased with the draw overall. It would have been nice if it was at home, but like you said, it gives me some time to save up some money because it's not going to be a cheap one.
Definitely, those big round trips are always kind of, I was going to say money spinners, but they're more money drainers. But one of them was all for the love of the game. All for the love of the game. I mean, Lily Alumi, you wanted to jump in on Salford City?
Yeah, I did. Like was said before, it was too much about the class of 92, which I thought was unfair. It should have been more about the players actually winning the tie, which I think was slightly unfortunate. But anyway, that's just my opinion.
I mean, at the end of the day, BBC, all they're trying to do is, well, they're trying to get eyes on the prize and draw in viewers. So that was one of them, was whether it's at the expense of the game or not. I don't know, but on a general basis, it's a case of they're looking at getting it any way possible. But it is one of them ones where it is about time. It is actually about time for a little bit of a roundup. A little bit of a roundup. So it is one of them ones to ask the question, is everybody ready? Well, we're guessing everybody is ready, because for the thousands in attendance and the millions listening and watching at home via YouTube and also via the podcast on iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomatic, Mixcloud, and Spreaker, it is time for Oh, you didn't know? Ian Kerr's going to tell you about A-League football.
Hello, pitch talkers, and thank you, Liam, as always, for that wonderful introduction. There's no one else on the internet who introduces me quite like you did. Well, in Australia, round 5 of the A-League has been completed. Adelaide United on Thursday night lost at home to Melbourne City, 4-2 to Melbourne City. A couple of late goals there for Adelaide United, but they're not looking too flash this season, well, at this stage anyway. Melbourne City on their hand bounced back, 4-2 win. Well, look, they dominated the match, so it was a fair result. On the Friday night, a bore draw. My goodness, one of the worst matches you'll ever see. There are about 2 or 3 shots on goal the entire evening. Sydney FC 0, Brisbane Roar 0. So top of the table clash. It was billed as being, an amazing match and so on and so forth. Boring, my goodness. There was a tweet late on in the match from the football writer at The Australian saying, "Help. My editor has asked me to write 600 words about that. What can I do?" Newcastle Jets on Saturday lost at home to Western Sydney Wanderers. Wanderers came back from 1-0 down to win 2-1. A controversial couple of goals there. The Newcastle goal was possibly offside, and Western Sydney got the equaliser through a very soft penalty. And what don't we like, everybody? We don't like soft penalties. Then on the Sunday, 1-1 between Central Coast Mariners and Wellington Phoenix. Phoenix had gone 1-0 up. Coast came back for a 1-1 draw at home. There was one match postponed, which was Perth Glory versus Melbourne Victory. And why was it postponed? Because coincidentally, those two teams played off on Saturday night for the final of the FFA Cup. This is the second ever instalment of the FFA Cup, the knockout competition. Holding the final mid-season really is a bit of a bust, though. There wasn't much of a crowd there to see Melbourne Victory win 2-0 over Perth Glory. Not a match for the Classics either. 2-0, fairly much a routine victory for Melbourne Victory. Didn't really have much of a finals atmosphere either. However, it's a new competition. It's only the second time it's ever been run, so it'll be interesting to see if they sort it out for future seasons. The problem we've got in Australia, of course, is that the A-League is a summer season, but every other league in the country plays during the winter. So just as the A-League starts, all the other competitions are finishing. So there's a scheduling problem they've got to work out there. So let's have a quick look at the ladder. We haven't looked at the ladder yet this season after after 5 rounds. We've got a bit of a picture developing of how things stand. Sydney FC on top. Brisbane Roar are second, 1 point behind. Newcastle Jets, surprisingly, in third place. They've had some good wins so far. Victory in fourth place. Melbourne City in fifth. Wanderers rounding out the top 6 in 6th position. Remember that the top 6 positions qualify for the finals at the end of the season. Last is Adelaide United with 2 points. 2 points. The only way is up for Adelaide, as they say. They've had a couple of injuries, but just the same, they're not playing very well. And they lost their charismatic coach during the off-season. Joseph Gombau has gone, and he's been replaced by another Spaniard who's nowhere near as effervescent or as charismatic on the sidelines. So I'm not suggesting this is the only charisma is the only reason that Adelaide United is not going so well this year, but they've got a bit of work to do if they want to qualify for the finals. So there you go, everybody. That's the roundup from the A-League this week. Back to you in the studio, Liam.
Thank you, Mr. Ian Kerr, for that A-League roundup. We'd like to give a massive shout out to Thin White Line Magazine at Tweet White Line on Twitter, facebook.com/Thin White Line Magazine and thinwhitelinemagazine.com. You've just heard the roundup. Go and support their podcast and buy the shirt, buy the mag. Heard the roundup, buy the shirt, buy the mag. It is one of them. Was Thin White Line Magazine. I think issue 3 is out imminently. So it is one of them ones where, yeah, go and support that. thinwhitelinemagazine.com, facebook.com/Thin White Line Magazine. Also on Instagram as Thin White Line Magazine 2 and at Tweet White Line on Twitter as well. Big thank yous to Mr. Ian Kerr for the A-League roundup exclusively for your Monday Night Footballing Fix Pitch Talk Live, aka #PT Live. There's one of them ones. It is one of them ones, but yeah, it is a case of we have to move and groove on. So we round out results and analysis with the A-League roundup from Thin White Line Magazine. But right now, it is a little bit time for a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and quite a bit of.
Generally, talking points.
Wow, wow. Wow, wow. Wow, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we're in general talking point segment of the show. Got a little bit of managerial moving and shaking to go through on tonight's PT Live. Of course, we're gonna start with the opponents. This is Pitch Talk. So you know we're live. I'm botching them lyrics. Anyway, where we're going to start. Patrick Viera, ex-Arsenal midfielder, takes New York City job. Former Arsenal and Manchester City midfielder Patrick Viera has been appointed as head coach of MLS side New York City. This from 9th of November 2015. Viera, who's 39, leaves his role as head coach of Manchester City's under-21s after signing a 3-year contract with New York. Now, New York City are part of the City football group founded by Manchester City owner Sheikh Mansour. New York City squad includes ex-Chelsea midfielder Frank Lampard. Andrea Pirlo, who helped Italy win the 06 World Cup, also plays for them, along with ex-Barcelona forward David Villa. Viera, a World Cup winner in 1998 himself, with France, will take up his new role on January 1st, 2016. I am delighted to take up the role role of head coach with New York City FC, said Viera. It's an exciting prospect for any coach. New York City have just completed their inaugural season, which ended in elimination from the playoffs. They averaged gates of around 29,000 at the Yankee Stadium, which included 20,000 season ticket holders. Earlier this year, the New York Times reported the club was considering a move to Columbia University's Baycraft Lex complex at the northern tip of Manhattan. So Viera, as a player, won 7 major honours in 9 years with Arsenal between 96 and 2005. He won the Serie A title with Juve in 2006 before helping Inter to 3 domestic titles. He joined Man City in January 2010 and helped the club win the FA Cup in 2011 before announcing his retirement from playing. Now, David Moyes, the other side of the coin, the managerial merry-go-round. Real Sociedad sack former Man United manager. This is also from today, 9th of November 2015. David Moyes has been sacked as manager of La Liga strugglers Real Sociedad a day short of his 1-year anniversary at the Spanish club. The 52-year-old steered the Basque team to 12th spot last season after taking charge on November 10th, 2014. But La Real are only outside the relegation zone on goal difference. And after Friday's 2-0 defeat at Las Palmas, which was their 4th in 5 league games, a Sociedad statement said they had decided to terminate Moyes' contract. Assistant boss Billy McKinley has also been sacked. The club is 16th to face Europa League winners Sevilla and European champions Barcelona in their next 2 La Liga games after the international break. So the move to Sociedad was the Scots' first job after he was sacked. As Man United manager in April 2014, following a 10-month spell in charge. The 10 months of hilarity, as some people call it. But it is one of them ones. He's actually Sociedad's 4th British manager. Harry Lowe, who was in charge for 5 years from 1930. John Toshak had 3 spells in charge, with the last coming to an end in 2002. And Toshak's fellow Welshman Chris Coleman lasted less than 7 months following his appointment in 2007. G-Man, your thoughts on Moyes being sacked and Patrick Viera going to New York City?
Well, it's a great contrast there of the stories. But in terms of Moyes getting sacked, again, when we spoke about Sherwood last week, it's a results game, and effectively, you know, what Moyes has gone over there to do, he hasn't managed to achieve. And I heard Balaguer speaking yesterday about the situation, and he touched on a few points, saying, you know, when Moyes leaves this position, he'll be asking himself, you know, did he not learn enough Spanish? Did he not learn enough about the culture? Did he not, you know, prepare himself well enough for the job? And it sounds like that may be a big factor with him going over there, with him being in from the UK, just in general, not knowing the Spanish culture. That could have just been the barrier there for him, for not performing how he did when he was at Everton, in bringing that great deal of stability and, you know, slowly helping them to rise through the ranks and laying a great bed for the now manager Martinez, to, you know, who is taking over there. But I think, all in all, Moyes will be the winner from this, because, you know, he's had his stint at Man United, which went rocky. He's tried his stint at Real Sociedad, and you know, effectively, you know, was it good? Was it a bad stint? I don't know. He lasted a year, but for experience, it's going to do him wonders as a coach. You know, especially learning from a different culture, it's going to open up his managerial array, I reckon. So you know, if he's going to come back to the Premiership, I wish him well, and hopefully, you know, he doesn't go for a job that's beneath him. And Patrick Viera, that's fantastic news. It's good to see the Arsenal old boys getting into you know, managerial roles, coaching roles, you know, punditry roles. I love seeing it personally, and I think it's about the experience. You know, him being at Manchester City, you know, doing his badges and training there, and, you know, having that role as I think it was a youth coach there, and it's just the next step up the ladder, and hopefully one day he just might be a future Arsenal manager if he gets the results that are required.
I mean, it is one of them ones where it is interesting when you see ex-players just like jumping into management. It is one of them where it's kind of like, especially as their first real taste of, say, managing a first team rather than an under-21s or reserves or something like that. And I think Viera's one is kind of smart, just purely on the basis that he's still inside the Manchester City franchise first and foremost. So if it doesn't go well, he could potentially just come back and resume a role at Manchester City. That's kind of a fail-safe for him, I reckon. But secondly, New York City FC are a brand new team. They've only just completed their first season. So the expectations won't be stupid. And it's in the MLS as well. So it's not, say, the pressure cooker of the Premier League, whereby you're jumping into a job at, say, a big team, and everyone's expecting you to hit that ground running, even though you've only got experience at under 21 level. So I think Viera taking that on, I wish him luck. I think it's very smart to take that kind of job, in my personal opinion, because at the end of the day, I said, New York City being part of the Man City franchise, he could potentially pull resources from Manchester City. So it's not going to be one of them ones where he's left up Crap Creek without a paddle. And say with the Moyes at Man United situation, in comparison to that, bringing him in, it's a case of where he, in part, was kind of dealt a bad hand because he was jumping from a small team, with all due respect to Everton, he was jumping from a small team to one of the biggest teams in the world, let alone the country. And that was a big step up. And being labelled as the chosen one, so it almost sounds like Vince Russo and Jeff Jarrett. But it's one of them was being labelled as the chosen one. A little OWR crowbarred in there. But it is one of them. It was always going to be somewhat difficult. And people saw him as a small-time manager. Now, Viera going over to New York City, he's not going to be seen as a small-time manager. He's going to be seen as a great player who achieved great things, and he did. Coming over and managing this new side is going to be optimism, as opposed to the Man United fans who, when Moyes was hired, it was like, what the hell is this? So, there's going to probably be that air of optimism over at New York City FC. And also, he's potentially going to be able to not only pull resources from Manchester City, in terms of getting players, but also based on his own merits. He'll have friends who will be able to come in, like, let's say, for instance, Robert Pires, who we've had the pleasure of meeting on a pit stalk on the road at Alexandra Park FC back in 2013. It's a case of he might be able to persuade him to come and help out with a bit of coaching the midfielders from time to time. I think Pires is still in the IPL, the Indian Premier League at the moment, but just as a suggestion, he might do. You never know. Viera might reach out to old friends. He might reach out to, say, Dennis Bergkamp for a bit of advice. He might reach out to say Laurent Blanc for a bit of advice. So he might reach out to Didier Deschamps for advice too. So there's a lot of experience and pooling of resources that Viera can do. Shifting on to the David Moyes issue, I mean, only sacking him after a year. And like he had quite a good start. So I mean, this one of them was getting Sociedad to 12th spot. I mean, you look at his win ratio. His win ratio is not great, but it's not the worst. I mean, at the end of the day, over a year, 42 games, won 12, lost 15, which at the end of the day is not great. But then you look at his 10 months at Man United. 51 games, won 27, lost 15, win ratio of 52.94%. So, I mean, it's clear that management is a results game. very much a results game. And yes, I am referring directly to a PT special feature that we are going to have next week. We were going to drop it in this week, but we're going to hold it until next week. But the fact of the matter is, as you said, G-Man, football's a results game, and especially with management, you have to be getting results. And the fact that Sociedad are just above the relegation zone on goal difference, it is one of them ones where it looks like it was time for a change.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes it is a case of enough is enough, and it's time for a change. In the immortal words of Owen Hart's entrance theme from 1998, he was part of the Nation of Domination. Another OWR in there, but it's just one of them was that after a year, it just seems very soon. It just seems very, very soon. So, right. It's one of them was. It's just a source of consternation that managers are only getting 10 months or are only getting a year or a year and a half. So it's just an odd one. And as I said, it was about this time last year, literally a day out, that he got hired. So he got hired a third of the way through the season, and now he gets fired a third of the way through the next season. It's just a bit weird to me. It's just a bit weird. It's the timing thing. I don't get it. But I mean, it's one of those. I mean, Brad Hicks has just put in the chat. Viera's done very, very well with Man City's under 21s. Brilliant appointment by New York City FC. He'll bring a lot of experience and credibility to the job. Couldn't agree with that more. Really couldn't agree with that more. I mean, Russ Vernon, you wanted to jump in on these two managerial movements.
Yes, I did, Liam. And first of all, I want to take the David Moyes one. Like you, Liam, I'm a bit surprised with this. He's had a year in charge. Like I said, Liam, his win rate's not that good. But he's a fantastic. He's a good manager who's doing well for them. Road to 12th. So far this season, winning games I've seen, they're playing quite well. So I can't understand the reasoning of the sacking of David Moyes from Real Sociedad. Moving on to Patrick Viera now at New York City FC. I saw this very earlier this afternoon while I was in college, and for me, I think it's a fantastic appointment. Like Brad says, he's doing a very good job with Man City under 21s, and he's going to get better out there. He's got the likes of Lampard, who he's played against. He's got David Villa, who he played against as well. So he's got players there who he's played against. So he's going to know the kind of players, what they are and what they can offer to the team. And also Andrea Pirlo there as well. So he's got a few decent players there already. So, and a lot of players we won't know. Other players we know can give a between insight to them and from what they know from last season and what they were with. So it's a good. So for me, I think that's a very good appointment, and he's going to fetch a lot of experience in. And I'm just wondering what your opinion is on this, this statement which I saw a few moments ago, Liam, over on Twitter. People are just wondering, and it's from BN Sports, Liam. They're saying, is Patrick Viera learning in the US for a future in the Barclays Premier League? For me, I think he might be. I think he may want to go over there, prove himself as a first-team manager, not working over here as under 21, prove himself as a first-team manager, prove that he can go and play some good performances, and then get some decent wins under his belt, and then move on and progress, like come back over to England and go into the Premier League when he's got a bit of stability behind him, and when there's not that much of he will have a bit of pressure with his first managerial job over people who has some experience working with the sort of calibre and sort of players like the likes of Pirlo and Lampard and David Villa over there, or players who's played over in England or in Spain, and like if it takes over, so like Arsenal when Wenger leaves, if he comes in there. So it'd be interesting to see what that your opinions on that. And in the FA Cup, Liam, it's 4-0 to Chesterfield now. Right, Simon scored on 68 minutes, and then on 88 minutes, Ollie Banks, the ex-Rotherham man, has made it 4-0. So it looks like Chesterfield is safely through to round 2 of the FA Cup.
Thank you for that, Rush. And Lily Lumi, you wanted to jump in on the Moyes and Viera hirings of hirings. You want to jump in on it?
Yeah. Like Russ was just saying, I think a year is not a very good amount of time. Although being the fan of the club that I am, I shouldn't really talk about things like that. But a year is not, because he is a good manager, like you were saying, and I just don't think he's been given the opportunity. And as for the Viera thing, like Russ was saying, I think he's going to the US, and then I think in the future he'll be a future Arsenal manager eventually. I think he's just going to learn his craft. I think it's a very good appointment for New York City.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I mean, I said it's the experience that he can bring. I mean, he might not bring experience as a manager in terms of top level, but at the end of the day, he can bring in potentially other people to help him. That's always something to be. It's always something to be looked at. I mean, Brad Hicks has said, I know one thing, there will be a lot more loans from NYCFC to MCFC. So New York City FC to from Manchester City FC. So it's one of, like I was saying earlier, it's a case of Viera could pull resources and make a real good go of it, because Man City are not going to hang him out to dry and be like, no, you ain't getting no one. No, that's not going to happen. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very interesting to see. It's gonna be very interesting to see how that goes. In terms of Patrick Viera potentially being groomed, for lack of a better term, to be in the next to be a manager back in the Premier League, whether it be the next Man City manager or an Arsenal manager. Yeah, of course, that's always the end goal. That's always got to be the end goal. Never know, he might go to La Liga or Serie A, but at the same time, it is a case of you've always got to be looking to the future. And if you can, I mean, that's part of the reason why I said it was quite interesting that he's gone to New York City FC, and the fact that Viera is still within the Manchester City umbrella, because New York City FC is under that umbrella. So even if it doesn't go well, he can be brought back and just continue on here. So either way it can work. So I mean, G-Man, I don't know if you agree with that, but
no, I agree with what you just said there. In terms of what Russ said earlier on, I wouldn't just limit it to the Premiership, like what you said earlier on as well. I mean, he could honestly be looking to manage internationally. That might be his end goal. That only Patrick Viera knows what he really wants to do and where he wants to go. But I think he, as any manager, he just wants an opportunity to get his feet wet in that trade and, just reach for the stars.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them, must keep your feet on the ground and reach for the stars. It's all about. That is what it's all about. So I can see. Yeah, I could see Viera doing good things at New York City FC. Moyes, it all depends. I think Moyes will end up back in the Premier League before long, because the way the managerial merry-go-round is, and of course we tweeted out a question in regards to who might potentially get sacked, and we asked in regards to which of these managers, Jose Mourinho or Gary Monk, will be sacked first. It's a case of, we did have a reply back from Chris Hutchinson, who said, unfair poll, neither may yet lose their jobs, to which we said, well, try telling the ITK or in the know accounts, rumor mills and papers that, because it's been flying around that apparently Mourinho's got 2 games to save his job, and that Gary Monk is apparently being prepared to be fired. Those are that, especially that second one. I saw that like yesterday afternoon, and I thought, no, that's actually laughable about Gary Monk. And Michu has actually left Swansea, so it's a case as well. But it's one of them ones. I mean, Chris Hutchinson, aka @Hutch, tweeting and said, for me, neither deserve to lose their jobs, but hey, what do I know? And of course, we said agree with you, but we just want to know who will be the first to go. And Chris Hutchinson has said, as I say, both could be there until they decide. Both could be there until they decide. Otherwise, question mark, a la Ferguson at United or Moyes with Everton. But I understand that point. But at the same time, it is a case of Mourinho said last season, I want to stay at Chelsea for 10 years. But as we've said on here on PT Live before, that's not Mourinho's decision. No, but he could want to stay there for 10 years, but we know Roman is the man. And it's one of them ones. So it's one of them ones. He's the one who makes the decisions.
Yeah.
So no, go on, G-Man.
I was going to say, what I find interesting with that is Chris didn't actually answer the question. So it must be, because in all honesty, the question is only asking who will be sacked first. It's not given a time limit, you know, and it's not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, this season. It's just asking who will be sacked first, which of the two. Now, that shows me that the belief in Mourinho must be waning in people because, you know, you would have thought some would just say Gary Monk. Straight away, you wouldn't even have to think about it. You wouldn't even have to question the actual question itself. You just say Gary Monk.
I mean, that said though, it's just a case. I've spoken to a couple of Chelsea fans recently. It's been like, yeah, Mourinho's got two games to save his job, and I was like, really, you're mocking, right? And it was one of my colleagues at work, and he was like, and he did say he did agree with it, and I don't think that should be the way, but. Hey, that's what the media say, and of course, my view on the media is that they're parasitic at best. But that's my personal opinion. But it's just really sad. It was just really sad to see that some Chelsea fans are actually turning on Mourinho and saying, "Yeah, he needs to go." There is also one. Meme or image actually doing the rounds about what's it? Oh, where is it? I think I've actually got it somewhere. Yeah, it is something like keep calm and keep Jose. Stick with Jose. This guy's got a top on, and he said form is temporary, being special is permanent. Which. There's a line in there. There is a line in there somewhere where you think, well, yeah. All I'm saying is there is a place in this country called Bell End, and I'll leave it as that. And I'm not even lying about that. Actually, there really is somewhere called Bell End. So I will leave that. But in terms of the managerial merry-go-round, I'm not a fan of it. Never have been. Never will be. It's not good. One thing I'm also not a fan of is high ticket prices in the Premier League. And this is where we're going with our next point. Bayern Munich fans protest at Arsenal ticket costs. This is from the 21st of October 2015. We have been waiting on this for a reason. A Bayern Munich fans group turned up late for their Champions League group match at Arsenal and protested ticket prices for the game. FC Bayern Worldwide, which revealed the protest the week before, did not enter the Emirates for the first 5 minutes of the match, which had a £64 ticket price. There was applause by Gunners fans when the group eventually took their seats. Bayern's fans also displayed a banner which read 64 quid a ticket, but pounds a ticket, but without fans, football is not worth a penny. Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger side won the game 2-0, as we mentioned earlier. And as we mentioned at the time, I will speak with Wenger for the first for next time to make it cheaper for our fans, said Bayern boss Pep Guardiola. We will take care of Arsenal fans in Munich with a good price. They can travel. A BBC Price of Football study which analysed costs of 227 clubs across Britain and Europe, which we went into back in the summer, found that Arsenal have the most expensive match day ticket in the Premier League at £97. In contrast, Bayern Munich's cheapest season ticket in the Bundesliga is £140. Earlier in October, the Football Supporters Federation, FSF, coordinated protests at all 20 Premier League clubs and 10 Championship teams to call for a £20 cap on away ticket prices. That is the 20s Plenty campaign, if I remember rightly. But also, Swindon Town fan returned season ticket and memorabilia. This was from the 23rd of October 2015. This didn't get as much media coverage, but I'll go into that in a minute. One Swindon fan, Albert Brind, and this was posted into our into the Facebook group for Pitch Talk by one of the PT family. One Swindon fan, Albert Brind, is so disgusted with what's going on at the club, he has returned his season ticket, club shirt, and over £1,000 worth of memorabilia. It was one of them ones. Swindon parted company with manager Mark Cooper at that time, and they had lost 8 of their last 9 games at that time. Chairman Lee Power had placed himself in temporary charge with the club slipping into League One's relegation zone at the time as well. Now, in terms of protest, we're kind of mixing and matching. But for me, protesting ticket prices is one thing, and it's all well and good doing it. But I don't know. I mean, G-Man, where does that sit with you? Before I come in with my opinion, where does this protesting ticket prices sit with you? And that Bayern Munich protest of not entering the ground for 5 minutes, was it a bit pointless? And the Swindon Town fan returning his season ticket and memorabilia over what's going on at the club. What's your thoughts on that too?
Well, basically, I've always said with this protesting business, you know, if you're gonna protest, if you're gonna boycott matches, you got to go the full 9 yards. You know, and that means just don't go to the match, don't turn up for the match, and effectively your point, you know, if it's done in its masses, your point will be heard, yeah, because there will be silence. That's getting onto the Bayern point. Did it affect anything? No, it didn't, because Arsenal fans were still in the stadium. There was a lot of noise without them. It got eyes on the prize, but effectively, it's not their fight. You get me? In the Bundesliga, yeah, you can pick up a Bayern season ticket for something ridiculous. I think the cheapest is like £100 to £300. You know, and they're basically, you know, they've come all the way to England. Yeah, obviously they have to pay the £64 to come to the Champions League match, but you know, effectively, if they were to do that every time they come to England, it's not helping them. So what it's done for me, it's taught a little. There was them who didn't turn up, go into the stadium. That would have been a lot more effective. That would have been more of a statement. But Arsenal fans standing up and applauding them, it's a bit of it's ironic. It's like, yeah, we're going to come in, eat pies, watch the game while you were standing outside, and when you come back in, we're going to applaud you. That's like these people that have their camera phones, see someone getting beaten up in the street, film it, and then put it on Facebook and say how terrible it was. Like, I don't get it. And I'll just leave it there because I know you've got a lot to say, and you know, me and you sit pretty much on the similar borderline, yeah. But with the Swindon fan, I feel the guy's pain. I think it's a bit extreme. I think he's let his emotions get the best of him, because especially with the £1,000 worth of memorabilia, I can understand if that's how you feel at the time. Then you know you got to make your stand. And I was just saying, like, you know, if you're gonna boycott, go the full 9 yards. But I think he went 12 yards because the memorabilia is actually historic. That's something that, you know, effectively, you know, not only does that live with the club's history, that's lived with his history with the club. And, you know, he could have passed that down to kids, and they could have passed it down to kids, and he's just giving it back to the club for free. And again, I have to say the emotions took over there. But in terms of passion, you got to say, you know, that's what's driven him. You know, he's seen stuff that he just doesn't agree with, and he can't be putting up with it no more, and he's literally put his money where his mouth is.
You beat me to that phrase. You actually did beat me to that phrase, because like taking this in reverse order, it's like that Swindon fan. It is one of them ones. I agree with you. I didn't look at it from the emotional perspective, in all honesty, but that actually is a good point. I mean, he has let to an extent, emotion get the best of him, because yeah, that memorabilia, I would have kept the memorabilia, and if the club want it back, sell it back. It's hard times, daddy, to quote Dusty Rhodes. But it is one of them ones where it's like, I see it as, yeah, he put his balls on the line and put his money where his mouth is at the end of the day, because it's like, you know what, I'm not happy with what's going on, and this is how deep my convictions lie. This is what that's the key phrase I'm going to hang on to. This is how deep my convictions lie. It sounds like an obligatory wrestling reference from Right to Censor in 2000, which it kind of is. But it is a case of, he has shown how deep his convictions lie in the fact that he's like, you know what, I really don't like this, and you know what, shove it, I've had enough, which is pretty much what he said. He's like, no, that's it, stick it, I've had enough. And that it really should have at the time, which in my view is a little bit sad, really. But one of the, I mean, for me, one of the main things for me is the fact that, one of the main things for me is just the fact that, yeah, returning your memorabilia, all well and good. Returning your season ticket and memorabilia, all good, because it sends a statement. But if only one person is doing it out of 20,000, then it's almost cutting off your nose. It's kind of cutting off your nose to spite your face, really. But it's a case of the Bayern Munich fans not entering the ground for 5 minutes. What good is that really going to do, in my view? That's the way I look at it. What good is a 5 minute boycott going to do? If you really want to protest, and put your money where your mouth is, you do what happened in the Rome derby, because one of Europe's most passionate derbies was played out in front of thousands of empty seats on Sunday as fans of Roma and Lazio boycotted their game in protest over increased security measures at the Olympic Stadium in Rome. Supporters of both clubs continued the protest, which has seen them refuse to attend recent home games over the decision to erect extra barriers in the curve behind each goal. Clubs who share the stadium were ordered by local authorities to introduce the measures to enable police to enter the areas in case of crowd trouble. I hope this situation is resolved soon, and I hope the derby can become a celebration again, Roma midfielder Alessandro Florenzi said. The Stadio Olimpico has a capacity of just over 72,000. Around 50,000 fans have watched the game in recent seasons, but just 35,000 were expected on Sunday, although no official attendance was given. Fans who chose to boycott the game showed their support for the teams by packing out their final pre-match training sessions and following the players from the team hotel to the stadium before watching the action on screens in the city. Now, for me, that's how you do a protest, and doing it on a big level as well. Now, a couple hundred or a couple thousand Bayern fans not entering the ground for 5 minutes, for me, that's not a protest. For me, that's you being an idiot. You've paid 64 quid for your ticket, and you're going to miss some of the game on purpose. For me, it's the same rationale behind leaving a game early. When you know stuff can happen, Premier League of late goals, you know that stuff can happen in the last couple of minutes. So I agree with Jurgen Klopp with what he was saying about, well, I don't know where those fans were going when they were leaving, 85 minutes in after Scott Dan's goal on 82. So I would be thinking to myself as well, where the hell are you going? It's one of them ones. Don't celebrate our successes if you can't support us during our defeats and during the hard times. That's what I look at it as at the end of the day. But for me, with this whole ticket cost, as I've said before, I've said it on Facebook, said it on PT live shows when we've discussed this before. At the end of the day, and the G-Man has mainly championed this call to action as well. It's a case of just don't go. If you feel that strongly, just don't go. Because these Bayern fans are complaining about 64 quid a ticket, but they've still paid it. So your money's already gone into the coffers of the club who you think is ripping you off. That's like buying a sandwich and saying, "No, I don't want this sandwich. I don't like how much it costs." But you've already bought it. So whatever you waste, that's your loss. that is your loss. I mean, 5-minute protest, what is that going to do? If you didn't come in for the whole first half, okay, maybe that would be a little bit of a middle ground. Or if you didn't go to the game at all. But the fact of the matter is, you've purchased your ticket already. So the club's already got your money. So why are they going to give a damn? Why is the club going to do anything when they've already got your money? It's like, boy, you can protest, and well, that little thing with potentially leaving bin bags a while ago. It's one of them ones. You can do that all you want. We've already got what we need from you, and that's your money. And if we've already got your money, who's the fool now? It's like I posted something on Facebook a couple of days ago where it's like it's similar to for me. I liken this kind of crap to people who complain about X Factor but then watch it every single week and then clog up my Facebook feed and my Twitter feed complaining about it. If you don't like what something stands for, if you don't like what it's about, and you don't like the result, vote with your remote, vote with your feet. Don't watch it. Don't go. So at least that Swindon Town fan, at least Albert Brind, he was so disgusted that he was like, no, I'm not going to take this no more. Screw it. I quit. It's one of them ones. At least he was willing to actually do that. All right, maybe a little bit of a misguided decision, maybe a very emotional decision that he might have regretted in hindsight, but at least he had the balls to stand up and do it. At least he had the balls to do it. So it's a case of, I said, with these Roma fans in the Rome derby, kind of a weird reason as to why they're boycotting, because it's like, if there's trouble, we know about the Rome ultras and that there's been trouble with them in the past before, like when Man United went over to Rome. It's a case of, we've seen the Rome ultras, so them protesting over kind of extra security measures is kind of weird in my view. But it's one of them ones, at least they had the balls to go, you know what? We'll still show our support to the team. Like, we'll follow the team bus and cheer them on, but because we're sending a message to the powers that be, we're going to leave the stadium half empty and not go in.
See, Liam, I wanted to touch on that because I actually missed that, but it kind of angers me, yeah, to hear that, you know, you're right. It's a successful boycott, you know, they managed to put it together, but look at the reasonings, just like what you said, look at the reasonings for what they're doing it. What? So they can be, so, you know, clubs respectively are trying to make a safer ground for the public, you know, to make it a nicer place for people wanting to go to the game, for players not to get abused and all sorts, yeah. And you got these, and I don't want to be judgmental and disrespectful to any ultras out there, because I really wouldn't want to be walking down a street in Italy if I go in the future and get my face punched in, but you are animals, yeah, who just want to go to the game and cause trouble and cause riots, you know, and those sort of things, throw flares on the pitch, disrupt the matches, yeah. And they managed to pull off a boycott, you know, to protect that. They're not protecting the players who might get racial abuse. They're not protecting the players who get abuse in general. They're not protecting the young kids and women and, you know, old people and, you know, young males that go to the game that are not into the violence. They're just doing it for some self-absorbed, egotistical, I don't know, rampant, whatever words you want to put with it, yeah. They just want to do it for some superficial cause.
But for me, that's the concerning thing, is that, yeah, it's all good protesting, but just make sure you're protesting for the right damn reason. That's what I'm looking at. Just protest for the right damn reason. I mean, that's where I think the Roma and Lazio fans were a bit confused. All right, they know how to protest. That's all well and good. Nothing wrong with it. But do it for the right reason. That would be like me. That would be like me complaining about complaining about grassroots football and a lack of support for grassroots football, but then coming out and congratulating the FA and saying, yeah, they're doing everything they can for grassroots football. It's like, nah, it doesn't work that way. It legitimately doesn't work that way. It's sending a very hypocritical and contradictory message out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, but they're trying. The police are apparently bringing in extra safety measures. Why are you protesting against that? That's like the USA protesting against the National Health Service. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. To me, it doesn't make any bloody sense. Why would you protest against something that's going to help so many other people? It's not about the needs of the few. It's about the needs of the many. And I wish football would buck up their ideas and realize that. I mean, it's a crazy one. It really and truly is. It's mad. I mean, Brad Hicks has mentioned in terms of protest. That's what the Ferenc Skarvos did against Videoton in Hungary last season, because they wanted handprints and DNA. So in terms of protesting, he's also said that's what a lot of Euro clubs do in big derbies in terms of boycotting games. So I mean, it's just one of them ones that it just frustrates me when I see these half-hearted, for lack of a better term, half-assed protests. Because what is 5 minutes gonna do? What the hell is 5 minutes? What the hell is 5 minutes going to do? That I don't know. I mean, what is 5 minutes worth of protesting going to do? That's what I would look at. I mean, you know what? Yeah, coming back to the social networks just briefly. The question was posted out: can Leicester City finish within the top 4 spaces? G-Man, do you want to read out the replies that we got on that and a couple of other issues on the socials? Or do you want me to?
Yeah, you just caught me off guard there. Let me just catch you up. Is it?
And a big shout out to JBK as well, actually, who's just Jamie Bailey, who's just joined us in the Skype chat. And yeah, G-Man, do you want me to jump with it? Do you want me to roll with it quickly then?
Yeah, jump on it.
Cool. Yeah, can Leicester City finish within the top 4 spaces? That was one thing that we put out via Facebook. And Jennifer Evans, big shout out to Jennifer Evans, aka JE, always getting involved on the talking points via the Facebook group. She says, nope, they will not have the endurance. History says the smaller clubs usually come out of the blocks fast but fade away during the course of the season. They don't have the durability of experience. think Southampton last season, then they fell away. It's a good point. And Brad Hicks has said, I've gone for third. Confident. I like that. But yeah, I don't see Leicester finishing in top 4. I really don't.
Yeah,
I actually really don't. Another thing that was posted, commiserations to David Moyes. He gave his best shot at Real Sociedad, which credit has to be given. Hopefully he finds a job soon. To which Chris Hutchinson has said, basically, balls to him. It's kind of an odd comment considering what he did for Everton, but
bit of grapes, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Everest is fickle, but yeah, I'll leave that one. Also, a big shout out to Richie G360, who has thanked us for our support of the Save the Cobblers campaign. He said we need all the help that we can. But no, I mean, Brad Hicks has said, "Oh yeah, we all have dreams. Champions League, here we come." Hey, ain't nothing wrong with dreaming. Ain't nothing wrong with dreaming at all. It's one of them where you got a very, very prolific pairing in Riyad Mahrez and Jamie Vardy as well. So smacked it. It's one of them was Leicester City is smacking it at the moment. For me, it's a case of I think Leicester City are going to drop off. I've said on a couple of occasions that hopefully Vardy will continue his form throughout the whole season, but I doubt it will. I doubt he will. Just purely on the basis that I think Leicester will drop off, and as Leicester drop off, you will see a drop off in service. And if, as I've said before, if you starve a striker of service, then he's not going to hurt anyone.
Yeah,
that's the way I would see it. So it's one of those. I mean, G-Man, I don't know what your view is on the Leicester thing, and also Chris Hutchison's comments on David Moyes.
Well, Chris Hutchinson's comments on David Moyes, I agree with you. It's a bit of a strange one, but you know, I guess losing David Moyes in the way that Everton fans lost him, it's like he just they might just thought that he just gave up and went for the glory, and since then he just hasn't recaptured the sort of form that he had at Everton. So I think the comments by Chris Hutchinson is just more like just emotional again. It's a bit of an emotional one. It's just like what I'd say if Arsene Wenger walked away from Arsenal rather than just leaving the game in itself. And if he walked away from Arsenal and going on to another club, if you know what I mean, when you got a manager who is successful, you do, or a player who's successful, when they leave you, you do feel a bit of resentment. So fair play to him. In terms of Mahrez, Vardy.
And Leicester in general.
Vardy and Leicester. I agree with what you're saying. He hasn't really been starved of the ball, but he managed to get himself into some great positions and using his pace and ability. I just say what Ranieri's doing and what Leicester are doing, and is what any team should do when they've got a striker who is on a hot streak, is you ride that wave. You use his form to benefit you. We've seen it. They've been down in games where they're 2-0 down, where they're 1-0 down, where they look like, well, if it was last season under Pearson, they would have lost that game. And look, he's got 9 in 9. So can Leicester finish in the top 4? It looks unlikely, but it looked unlikely that they'll even be in this position in the first place. So I'm not even going to try and write them off, because the way the Premiership's going so far this season, with Chelsea sitting in 16th, with teams like West Ham and Palace doing better than they usually do, and with Tottenham being unbeaten, and Arsenal being in better form than what anyone actually wants to actually say, this Premiership could swing anywhere. They could actually creep in to the top floor by fluke or whatever. I think they can definitely get in a top 8 position.
For me, it's one of them ones. It would be funny. It actually would be funny if Leicester got top 4 and Tottenham once again failed. I'm sorry, that would actually be pretty funny. I think that would be funny because Tottenham have done it once in 23 years, and yeah, they have the nerve. A lot of their fans have the nerve to try and swipe at Liverpool. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. Try and maintain top 4 on a consistent basis, and then we'll come back and have a chat. But apart from that, life sucks and then you die, in the immortal words of Vinnie Mac. So, it's one of them ones. It is a funny one. And Brad Hicks has said he'd laugh his a double poison the serpent's off. So it would be a funny one. But hey, fair play to Leicester. They're doing very well at the moment. So, and with Jamie Vardy, he's joined an elite club, along with Daniel Sturridge and Ruud van Nistelrooy. He's joined a very elite club, and you know what? Power to him in terms of scoring in 9 straight games in the Premier League. I'm hoping it ends up at 10, because it would be great for him. Great for him, great for Leicester City as a football club, and also just great for variation's sake. It's one of them was proving that sometimes a player from not from one of the established big boys can actually make an impact. It's always good to see. It's always good to see someone else making an impact. So it's one of them ones. There's a lot of haters saying, and I've seen a lot of haters saying, "Oh, he's just a championship striker." Well, he's doing well in the Premier League. So no, it's one of them ones. But you know what? It is one of them where it is about that time for us to say a little quick pause from the cause. But G-Man, you had something you wanted to say quickly in regards to, well, I'll let you say.
Yeah, well, I just want to say, guys, I want to just thank everyone who's been taking part in our fantasy football league over the last 12 weeks. There's great competition out there. I just want to big up a few people who are just, doing splendidly well. Big shout out to Mike Harniman, Nick Patel, Melvin Aikens, Jermaine Coleman, among many. Just keep plugging away. keep tweeting about it, have some fun, have some banter about it, because it has been a great season, and some people have got some great teams, especially myself.
Look at him putting himself over.
Well, I think I'm above you and Jezzy, or I'm just below Jezzy.
I don't think I'm even in it, because I just don't. I haven't got the time. I haven't got the time to keep up with it. But it's
so you're not Pitch Talk?
No, I'm part of Pitch Talk, but I'm not Pitch Talk.
No, I thought you created the Pitch Talk one.
Nah. Yeah, I was gonna say, it shows you the organisation. Couple right on those strike one. Is what that was. But yeah, no. I just haven't got the time to keep up with the fantasy football. So props to everyone who's a part of the PT fantasy football league and is keeping up with it and doing well. It's one that was props to everyone who's doing it. That's one of them. That's all we can say. But yeah, it is one of them. But as I said, it's time for us to quickly take a little pause for the cause. So we shall be back in just a few minutes. So people, we will see you shortly. The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
G-Man.
Samira Sonley, Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeau.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-Year Plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Each and every Monday night of your lives.
At youtube.com/pitch talk.
For podcast links and information, check out our official website, www. Your Monday night footballing fix, Pitch Talk, is brought to you by and in association with
Talking Pie, a local podcast made by the fans for the fans of Notts County FC, hosted by Adam and Thomas Hewitt.
Simply Exclusive Entertainment. If you need a party or rave film, go to sxemedia.com for more information.
Apparently Rich, simple yet effective web solutions to help get your company off the ground. Visit apparentlyrich.com for more information. And LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video. If you need a video filmed and or edited, check out ljaproductions.co.uk. LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video, offering video production services such as video editing, video including YouTube and Vimeo, audio recording, filming of interviews, promos, live events, and much more. Get in www.ljaproductions.co.uk or twitter.com/LJA Productions and let the new blood in digital video promote you. Pitch Talk is brought to you by and in association with
the one-stop shop for all your coaching needs, Motivate Sports and Fitness. Check out motivatesportsandfitness.com for more information.
The new football culture magazine, Thin White Line. Check out thinwhitelinemagazine.com for more information.
Storm FM with new hot releases played daily. Feel the boom at stormfm.net.
Two girls with their bunny Scotty trying to cover as much women's football as they can. Girls on the Ball. Check out girlsontheball.com for more information.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan.
Dave McLaughlin.
I'm Rob Lusher.
Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Former chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk.
The only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution.
Grassroots segments. Oh yes. Yeah. We're here. Yes, it's the Grassroots segment of PT Live. We are still live. We are live on the social networks too, on Twitter and Facebook. Yes! It is one of them, was the Grassroots segment. As said earlier, a big time shout out to Civil Service FC, who actually held the FA Cup, who actually hosted the FA Cup second round draw earlier tonight. So big shout outs to them. At CS, I think it's at CSFC 1863 is their Twitter handle. So it's one of them was big time shout outs to Civil Service FC of the 14 Southern Amateur League. Speaking of shout outs, it is one of them was a big shout outs to the 14 SAL at 14 SAL on Twitter and www.southernamateurleague.co.uk. Big shout outs to the Amateur Football Alliance as well at Amateur FA on Twitter and www.amateur-fa.com. So one of them was the club we usually focus on first, Ibis Eagles AFC, which is the club that myself, Straight Shooting LJ, and the G-Man call home, our home club. Also, a big shout out to a friend of ours, actually. Big shout out to a friend of ours, Mr. Andrew Williams, who played for Ibis FC last season, and he's actually now playing his trade. Is actually now playing his trade at Southbank Quarko FC as well. I think he's playing for the Southbank Quarko Freeze. So big shout out to Andrew Williams, and also a big shout out to his girlfriend and Sherelle Wedderburn, who's actually a good, very, very good friend of mine. But yeah, it is one of them ones where it's Ibis Eagles AFC Amateur Football Club is where we're going. Facebook.com/Ibis Eagles AFC. We do have a group on Facebook, and also Twitter.com/Ibis Eagles AFC, or at Ibis Eagles AFC on Twitter. www.ibiseaglesafc.co.uk is the official website. Training is every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. At the Battersea Park all-weather AstroTurf pitches, and match days are Saturdays, generally anywhere within the M25, although there is one exception to that rule, actually. I think it's UCL Academicals who have got off fours in one of the AFA Cups, which I think is somewhere in like Winchester or something. So it's one of them was very interesting, very, very interesting one. But yeah, it is one of them ones where, yeah, it's one of them ones. Very, very interesting time for the Ibis Eagles, and a little bit of a mixed bag, a slight mixed bag of results this week. It is one of them ones, yeah. It's like it's a little bit of a mixed bag, because we had some wins, we had some defeats, but it is one of them ones that it is one of. Sorry, just seen something very interesting in regards to my referee secretary role at the club. But yeah, results from Saturday, 7th of November 2015. Ibis Eagles 0, Old Salesians 0 in the AFA Cup. The Eagles won 3-1 on penalties. I think the last penalty is actually on the Facebook group at the moment. Royal Bank of Scotland 2, Ibis Eagles reserves 7 in the LFFA Cup, which is basically a financial cup. The Ibis Eagles freeze versus HSBC 6s in the LFFA Cup was actually postponed. It was supposed to take place at Pillars, aka the Riverside Sports Ground, but it was actually postponed due to the weather. UCL Academicals versus the Ibis Eagles 4s in the AFA Cup was also postponed as well. Also, I think that was due to the weather and due to not being able to offer hospitality as well. The HSBC 5s beat us, Ibis Eagles 5s, 6-1 in the LFFA Cup. More on that in a second. Polytechnics 9s were supposed to be hosting the Ibis Eagles 6s, which the G-Man was scheduled to play in, but that was postponed as well. So 3 games basically succumbed to the weather this week. The fixtures for Saturday 14th of November 2015, Ibis Eagles hosting Bank of England, Old Lyonians reserves against the Ibis Eagles reserves, Old Garchonians 4s host the Ibis Eagles Freeze, UCL Academicals versus the Ibis Eagles 4s in the AFA Cup, the rescheduled game, the one that was postponed this week, will take place this coming week, and the Ibis Eagles 5s versus Civil Service 6s, a game that I am racing to be fit for because it's a local derby and I really want to play in it. And Bank of England 5s versus the Ibis Eagles 6s as well. G-Man, quick question for you. You looking forward to playing at Bank of England? I've never played there, but I've always heard the legend about their pitches, that they're better than HSBCs.
You beat me to it. That's what I saw. I saw in that on either the email or the group earlier on today where someone just said something about the pitches. But yeah, Liam, I'm looking forward every week to participating. It you know, whether it's 90 minutes, whether it's 15 minutes, whether it's 10 minutes, you know, I gotta say, playing for Ibis Eagles this season, it's been and seasons before, it's been harder because sometimes we're stuck in goal, didn't really like it, but now once you're playing, it's fantastic.
Oh, definitely, and it's funny that you said 10 minutes.
It's worth her.
It's funny that you said 10 minutes, yeah, because that's about all I got in the 6-1 defeat away at HSBC before I came off injured. Yeah, a lot more to be said about that.
But it's unlucky to hear about that though, because it was you that's telling me about your new role as centre back, which is kind of quite interesting.
Yeah, like I said last week, and I've said it over a couple of weeks, it's like I'm actually enjoying it. I'm actually reveling in it. But it was one of them ones. I mean, this week, it's funny because it was a 12:45 meet. I got to the HSBC ground for 12:30, but because of traffic, a lot of the guys weren't able to get there, including the guys with the kit as well, weren't able to get to us till like 1:30, 20 to 2. It was I think it was a 2 o'clock kickoff. So it was like, did not get a proper warm up at all, and I think that's part of what did me in. Along with the the pitch was very slick, but it was one of them ones. But how I tweaked my knee was not even in a tackle, not landing on it. It was I took a touch, cleared the ball, and as I followed through, I slipped as I followed through, and felt my knee go, and it was like, oh crap! You know when you instantly know, damn, yeah, I'm screwed. I'm not going to be able to continue. So basically what I've been working on over the past couple of days is just trying to get the swelling down. Usually with the ladies, it's about getting the swelling up. Anyway, moving on.
I've got a question for you.
I'm gonna get punched in the face for that one.
It's got nothing to do with swelling. The question is,
I hope
left
not.
back or centre back? What is now your preferred role?
That's a very interesting question. I've only played a handful of games at centre back, but I don't know. Personally, I'd probably go centre back at the moment. Right now, I'm enjoying centre back because Two reasons. You can have a bit more of an impact on the game from centre back. Like when obviously, I mean, left back is where I've honed my craft, but it's one of them ones, as you know from playing alongside me, I like to get stuck in with a challenge, challenging for headers, challenging on the deck. So yeah, it's been different, a little bit of an adjustment, but not much of a. But yeah, you can have a bit more of an impact on the game from centre back. And there were a lot of times with the Ibis 3s, with the Ibis 4s, where legitimately, let's say Dan Azevedo and Nick Robertson, who were better centre backs than me. It was one of them, was, I'll make no bones about it. They were comfortably better centre backs than me, better on the ball and just better all round. So it made sense that they were always at centre back. But yeah, I think you can have a lot more of an impact at centre back than you can from fullback. For me, anyway, because especially with the type of fullback that I am, I'm not gonna bomb on forward. And also in terms of at the fullback position, we've got Poya, who I think is a much better fullback than I am, because he can get up and down for 90 minutes. I know that I can't do that. And me attacking is a rarity, but it's a case. So I know I can swing a good crossing, but I know I haven't got the stamina to get back as well on a general basis. So it's one of them ones I do enjoy centre back. I mean, playing alongside Paul Dennis has been brilliant, because we just kind of struck up that partnership straight away. It was just very frustrating to come off injured after about bloody 10 minutes. But yeah, I'm right now prefer centre back to play in left back. I will say that. I will say that much. A little less running, oddly enough.
Yeah,
it's one of them was I'm able to get stuck in a bit. So yeah. Well, in terms of the sixes, whereabouts are you playing and what position are you playing? Because we haven't played together yet.
Yeah, well, I'm playing up top, and in describing it, I'd say about 4 years ago, yeah, my ideal role was always on the wing. I love wing play. Would say back then when I was a bit more fit, I was more of a five-a-side player, and I love playing on the right wing and just right or left and just cutting in on my right foot. But as I've slowly aged and put on the weight, I've and realized, even though you find defenses at this level, and you know they tend to be the older guys, not many young guys. They tend to be the older guys who, you know, you still have a bundle of pace to get past them, or at least, you know, run rings around them. So I like playing up top, because also up top, you know, you tend to have the one striker who just basically holds the line as high as possible, and then the other striker who's just in front of him to you know, knock the ball past. So I don't mind with any strike partner just swapping around basically, and you tend to just do less work. That's in all honesty. So I'm up top, and I prefer that position. Just love to get the ball a bit more.
I hear that. And you're generally good on the ball as well, so no, that works.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm just going to throw a question out there. Actually, you know, saying we are talking about playing positions in a grassroots segment. What we want to know is, what is your favorite position and how you would describe yourself as a player? #PT Live.
Yeah, fling that out on the social networks. That'd be that's an interesting question. I quite like that. I do quite like that as a question. I'm not going to answer it at this point. But yeah, actually, I probably could answer it for myself. Very much Carragher. If I was to describe myself as any player, it's Jamie Carragher. In terms of style of play. But yeah, in terms of the grassroots segment as well, it is a case of that it is one of them ones where big shout out to Hackney Wick FC, www.hackneywickfc.com. Go to their contacts page for information on playing. at Hackney Wick FC on Twitter and Facebook.com/Hackney Wick FC. They actually do have a very interesting initiative going on at Hackney Wick FC, and it is the Fan of the Week. So go over to their Twitter page and their website. One of them was and check that out as well. Very interesting initiative. And is what it was. Russ Vernon said his favorite position is striker. A bit like Mark Viduka v Liverpool, scoring 4 goals in one game. Wow, this dude went with a throwback. I would love to say a recent memory of Liverpool beating Leeds, but we ain't been in the same league for a long time. And Kieran Riley's just asked what's going on with the recent Pitch Talk meets. That is actually still in post-production, but we will be making an announcement about Pitch Talk meets Darrell David very soon. Chairman of the AFA Youth Council and also a current referee as well. We will be making an announcement about Pitch Talk meets Darrell David soon, so keep your eyes posted. Keep your eyes peeled on that one. Big shout out to @BeautifulGame15 on Twitter as well, and 2 Men in Search of the Beautiful Game on Facebook, Daniel Magna and Tom Sparks. Also big shout out to the AFA Youth Council at AFA Youth Council on Twitter and Facebook.com/AFA Youth Council. Now, Leeds United Ladies FC, this was forwarded to us by Russ Vernon. They actually put out a club statement. Yesterday. Their website is www.leedsladiesfc.co.uk. And Instagram, they're Leeds Ladies FC, at Leeds Ladies FC on Twitter as well, and Facebook.com/Leeds United Ladies. Now, a club statement was put out from Gareth Lee, and Leeds Ladies FC confirms the departure of first team manager Gareth Lee, who has taken up a new role to pursue his coaching career. Gaz has been our manager for almost a year, and we believe the fine job he has done at Leeds Ladies has attracted attention and interest in his ability. We wish Gaz all the best in his future career and thank him for all he has done. Liam Kelly is also leaving his position as coach, and we would like to thank Liam for his hard work and wish him well in the future. We are pleased to announce that Lee Townend, currently head of our youth development and manager of our high-flying under-16s team, will take up the first team manager's role on an interim basis until the end of the season. Our development team manager Dale Holt will act as Lee's assistant. Both Lee and Dale have proved themselves to be very good coaches for Leeds Ladies FC, and the committee is confident they can bring their respective successes from youth and development level to senior level. We will be adding to our coaching staff in the days and weeks ahead. That's from Gary Cooper, chairman on behalf of Leeds Ladies FC committee. So interesting stuff there at Leeds Ladies. Changes is one of them. Was very interesting stuff there. Big shout out to Stevenage Ladies as well. Facebook.com/Stevenage Ladies FC and Twitter.com/Stevenage Ladies at Stevenage Ladies on Twitter. Big shout out also to Plymouth Argyle FITDC. Contact Graham Isles on 07894 584 878. They're looking for new players of all disabilities, and Ryan Sonley is involved with them too. So big shout outs there. So it's one of them. Was big shout out to Kieran Riley, who's just said his favorite position is left winger. I actually used to play left wing in school, in secondary school, but then I had a 2-year hiatus and came back as a defender. The 2-year hiatus came back as a left back because I lost some of that, as Jamie Bailey would describe it, that turn of pace. But he would describe himself who lets other people score and not take all the glory himself, even though he cannot play for, well, SH finished that one. But no, it is one of them. I used to play left mid in school. Enjoyed it. Didn't get much time for the school team. But it's one of them was politics and the good old boys networks that were running there. But enough about that, because it is time for us to switch into another segment. So let's go into
what's up with that?
talk. It's Monday night, and this is Pitch Talk. What's up with that? Or Odd Stories? Yeah, it is one of them ones. We are in What's Up with Viat. We are in What's Up with that. And you know what? It is one of them ones where I quite like this story actually. It's kind of a funny one. Following the AG, man, please read out what you said on Facebook in regards to the question about that question you put out during the grassroots segment. Favorite position and how you describe yourself as a player. Your answer was funny.
Well, basically, I'm not actually looking at Facebook. I can't remember it word for word, but yeah, I'd describe myself as a striker currently, and the player I am is Akinfenwa, the Beast. And I'd like to say to you and Nathan McCreed, no, it's not Sean Gota.
Feed the Gavin, he will score. Yeah. Oh, I love that. But you know what? You'd probably do a better job than this guy. Commentator sacked after falling asleep and snoring during Real Madrid's win over PSG from the 6th of November 2015. A 46-year-old Chinese pundit nodded off during the blockbuster Champions League tie, and his employers binned him shortly after. Football commentator lost his job after a hilarious incident which saw him fall asleep and snore on live television while giving his thoughts on the UEFA Champions League group match. Dong Lu, the veteran Chinese pundit, was acting as co-commentator for LETV's coverage of Real Madrid versus Paris Saint-Germain match early Wednesday morning Beijing time when he dozed off. The 46-year-old had to stay up until 3:45 a.m. for kickoff at the Santiago Bernabeu, and fatigue got the better of him in the final 20 minutes. In footage of the match from LETV, Dong can be heard snoring at around the 79-minute mark in an incident that had football fans across China chuckling. However, his employers at LETV did not take the incident lightly, as the man with 20 years of experience analysing football matches was fired from his post soon after. Dong later apologised for the incident and vowed to continue his profession through his personal online blog. As said earlier, the match finished 1-0, with Real Madrid getting crucial win to secure qualification to the round of 16 with 2 games to spare. You know what, yeah? Dong, please don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep. It's, you know what, yeah, having to stay up until 3:45 a.m. for a kickoff time. It's like, wow, this, you know what, falling asleep during the match, that was the kind of stuff that I know we were all worried about with the Confederations Cup and the Brazil 2014 World Cup. But him actually doing it, that's actually fuming. That is actually fuming. But I mean, I think his employers were a little harsh on him, to be perfectly frank. I mean, come on, staying up till 3:45 a.m. Part of it, you could say that Dong did wrong. That Dong was wrong and Dong did wrong.
Dong did wrong.
Part of me would say that Dong did wrong and Dong was wrong, because boy, has he ever heard of a power nap or Red Bull? But anyway, if you don't want to drink, a derivative of bull sperm, then a power nap. Use that. Taurine being the derivative of bull sperm. I was going to say what happens when you rip the balls off of a bull. But anyway, sorry, I don't know why I've been crowbarring that into whatever I say for the last few weeks. But yeah, it is one of them ones where, yeah, if you know you're going to have to stay up until 3:45 a.m. for a kickoff, get in a quick 20-minute power nap. Might wake up a little groggy, but if you time it right, you'll be fine. But it is one of them ones where it's at least he lasted 70 minutes. I mean, that's quite an achievement. That is actually quite an achievement. So he'd end up nearly 5 in the morning. And it's like, yeah. But no, I think his employers were harsh. I think his employers were really harsh. They should have supplied him with some coffee at least. But what do you reckon on this, G-Man? And Skype us as well if you want to jump in.
Well, the thing is, you know, Dong has said that he plans to continue doing his own thing via his social media, outlets, and it goes to show that even though Dong did do wrong, as you said, at least he can continue with his own aspirations of being the sleeping commentator.
I've heard of a sleeping giant, but there was a sleeping commentator. It's not a bad gimmick, actually, considering there has been the naked chef, which the naked chef was kind of, it's like, wait, why does he call himself the naked chef? It's like, it shouldn't. It's like, well, I was gonna say, in theory, you should apply that gimmick to someone like Nigella Lawson. It'd be a lot more interesting. But anyway, leaving that one aside, yeah, it's sleeping commentator. I quite like that as a gift. Imagine, oh my god.
No, but I agree with you. It is harsh, but at the end of the day, Real Madrid's got big clad, and when you're sending that out to millions and millions of fans, if it was going out to millions and millions of fans, it just takes the quality of your show away. So it's pretty much like a time when I was at home and just yawning, and I got ribbed for doing stuff that I wasn't doing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, one of Big T's favorite ever moments on the show, when it was like when we threw over to you, and all you hear is yeah, anyway, and it was like, wow, that's one of those moments that just stopped the show for about 5 minutes because everyone was laughing. It's like, what the hell? What was he doing? It's like, G man, what's the matter with you, G man? What are you doing? Oh my god. I mean, Kieran Riley has said, oh wait, just came back in at 70 minutes and 5 in the morning. What the hell have I missed? Oh, absolute madness. Absolute madness. But you know what? Oh, speaking of madness, we are entering the home straight of the show. So it is time for
Stuff of the week.
Yeah. La da da la da da la da da la da. It's been missing for a couple of weeks due to time constraints, cause we are a 3-hour show. Had to leave it out, so we didn't have time. Every Monday night, it's Pitch Talk. Your Monday night footballing fix. Bringing football results, analysis and banter. Every Monday via YouTube. And it's Monday night. Yeah. And it's Pitch Talk. Yeah, let's go into some stuff of the week. Let's go goal of the week first. G-Man, who you going for goal of the week?
Well, I think everyone's going to go for the same goal. So I'll say honorable mention to Neymar, because I know it has to be the goal of the week. But also I want to give a big shout out to Willian, who I think scored the most important goal for Jose Mourinho for the week. Just giving him a bit of breadth of light and giving Chelsea hope.
No, I hear that. You know what, yeah, on pure technique alone, I am going for Neymar's goal. That I've seen that about 10 times, and it's just like, I'm just like, bomb. I am just amazed. Like, the first touch was quality, the second touch was amazing, and to get that on the volley as well, I can't look any further than Neymar. Honorable mention to Lanzini against Everton, because that was a quality finish. Honorable mention to Willian, and also an honorable mention to, I think it was Alan of Salford City, for beating 3 men at the same time. The only way you should be able to do that is with a 3-pronged whip. But anyway, that's a different story. But yeah, Neymar's goal, I can't look any further than that for goal of the week. That was one of them ones. I think they were what? Barca were like 2-0 up at that point, and he just mocked. Yeah, that goal was mockage. Neymar, goal of the week. Russ Vernon, goal of the week.
Honourable mention, Liam, to Sergio Ramos and Alan from their games of the weekend. But for me, he's going to go to Alex Morat for both his strikes against Cardiff and Huddersfield, both 25 yards out, both important goals. One against Cardiff, first home win since March, and the first win over Cardiff since 1983, and a fantastic goal against Huddersfield in the 3-0 win for Leeds United.
I hear that. Ryan Sonley, who you going for goal of the week?
Honourable mention to Richie Allen, but my goal of the week came at Home Park, and it's Anthony Sweeney.
I hear that. I mean, Brian Hicks has gone for Alex Moat versus Huddersfield, with honourable mentions to Moat versus Cardiff, Richie Allen, and Neymar. Mike Harniman, who you going for goal of the week?
Yeah, I'm going to give an honourable mention to both of Alex Moat strikes, but my goal of the week comes from the Brighton Arsenal game last week, and that is Jordi Alba's goal.
Nah, that is a good shout, actually. I forgot about that one. That is actually a good shout. Kieran Riley, goal of the week.
Mine's got to go to Neymar for his brilliant goal against Villarreal in the Barcelona's 3-0 victory over them the other day.
Good shout, good shout. Let's go for player of the week. For me, in terms of player of the week, it's interesting. G-Man, who you going for? Player of the week first.
You know what? I have to go for Vardy in his fine form. 9-9. You know, he's nearly at the record, or being joined with the record. So I'm going to keep going with the wave of Vardy.
Nah, good shout. Good shout. I am going to, in terms of player of the week, I am going to go for Neymar. 2 braces in a week. 1 in Champions League, 1 back in the league. I'm going Neymar as my player of the week. It's one that was honourable mention to Luis Suarez as well. Keeping up step for step with Neymar. So it's one of them ones. Yeah, I can't really look any further than Neymar. Honourable mention to Vardy and Suarez, though. Yeah, it's one of them. Russ Vernon, player of the week.
Honourable mention to Neymar and Alex Moat. But for me, it's going to be James Mullet of Maidenhead United to score in the last minute to keep them in the FA Cup and earn them a 1-1 draw and a replay against Port Vale.
Good shout. Good shout. Let's go for Ryan Sonley. Who are you going for?
Honourable mention to Riyad Mahrez for his contribution to getting Jamie Vardy his 9th goal of 9th goal in a row, because he Riyad Mahrez is actually the penalty taker for Leicester, and Mahrez was wanting to doesn't normally he takes the penalties normally, but he told Vardy, "This is your penalty."
Hey, not this is your life. This is your pen. Here's your pen back, and we're not talking about a Bic pen either, or a Parker pen for those who are a bit older. Fountain pens. Let's go for Brad Hicks has said player of the week, Jamie Vardy. Honourable mention to Neymar. Who hasn't given their player of the week yet? I think we've got a couple who haven't. Kieran Riley, who are you going for player of the week?
Neymar, with an honourable mention to Jamie Vardy, with another honourable mention to every single player across the UK and the Premier League, Football League, League 1, League 2, Championship, all of them who respected a 1 to 2 minute silence at their games across the weekend in remembrance to all the fallen.
Great shout. Very, very good shout. And I'd like to, out of respect for that, I'd like to pause for a couple of seconds. Nice. Just to let it sink in. Mike Harniman, who are you going for player of the week?
Yeah, just to echo what Kieran said, really, and give all of them honourable mentions to everyone that's paid their respects over the weekend. But my player of the week is going to go to Jamie Vardy, with an honourable mention also to the assist king at the moment, Mesut Ozil.
Oh, good shout. Good shout. Let's go team of the week. G-Man, who are you going for team of the week?
My team of the week is Ozil. No jokes. It seems that way, but no, my team of the week. Everyone's gonna say it. Salford City. It has to be, like, so much press around them and doing not well, you know, doing Notts County.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I didn't want to say it because Big T might be listening, but yeah.
No, that is fair. No, that is very fair. I'm gonna agree with you. Salford City, and just for hilarity's sake, honourable mention to Stoke City as well. Arnautovic! No, I have to do that as honorable mention because those who know me and those who have listened to shows for a while would know my opinions on Jose Mourinho. Anyway, it's at least his public persona. So yeah, it's one of them. Salford City, honorable mention to Stoke City. Russ Vernon, who you going for team of the week?
For me, Liam, honourable mention to Salford City. Well, for me, it's got to be the one, the only United, Leeds United, back-to-back wins, the Cardiff and Huddersfield, and ended our home hoodoo since March, and our home hoodoo against Cardiff as well.
Fantastic shout. I actually like that. No, that's actually a really good shout. At last, Russ has something to shout about. Brad Hicks has gone Salford City, honourable mentions to Whitehawk and Chesham United. Ryan Sonley, team of the week, who you going for?
Honourable mention to Salford City, but my team of the week, I've got to say it's actually going to be Carlisle United for dumping us out and getting the deserved tie against Welling in the round 2.
Good shout.
In their homework.
Good shout. Mike Harniman, who you going for? Team of the week.
Going to give honourable mention to Salford, Chesham, and also to Forest Green as well. But I can't not give it to Steamers on the back of the 3-0 victory over Gillingham at the weekend. So there we go.
Good shout. Very, very good shout. Let's go. Kieran Riley, who you going for? Team of the week.
Honourable mention to Salford City, but my team of the week is Stoke.
Yeah. Nah, good stuff. Let's go. Flop of the week. G-Man, who you going for?
You know what? I was gonna be humorous and go for Chelsea, but I'm actually gonna go for the Italian derby match between Roma and the fans basically boycott the game. That's my flop of the week. I think, great to boycott, but for the reasonings alone, I think that's a flop.
No, good shout. I'm gonna keep it on the pitch. Notts County with honourable mention to Notts County, but it has to be Chelsea. It's one of them ones. Cow's backside, banjo, fill in your own adjectives. And yeah, actually, you know what? Brad Hicks has actually mentioned a good one. In terms of flop of the week, Aurelio Gomez, honourable mention to Artur Krysiak. The Aurelio Gomez one, yeah, he did drop a bad clanger. But yeah, I'm definitely going with Chelsea. Honourable mention, sorry, Big T, to Notts County too. That's one of them was. In terms of flop of the week, Russ Vernon, who are you going for?
Honourable mention to Notts County and Rotherham. Well, for me, even though they won Ipswich Town and Huddersfield, Ipswich Town get my flop of the week along with Huddersfield Town. Reason behind this, in the game against Leeds and Rotherham respectively at the weekend, they didn't, like the rest of the teams did, up and down the country, they didn't wear a poppy on their shirts.
I wouldn't mind knowing the reasons why, because certain people have their reasons why they don't as well. So that's an interesting one. Let's go. Ryan Sonley, who you going for flop of the week?
Both of my teams, both losing, and honourable mention to Chelsea as well.
Good shout. Kieran Riley, flop of the week, who you going for?
Mine's going to go to honourable mention to Middlesbrough. Sorry, Ryan. But my main flop of the week this week is Chelsea for once again losing.
Yeah. Cal's backside banjo, fill in your own adjectives. Love it. Absolutely love it. And you know what? Last but not least, Mr. Mike Harniman, who are you going for flop of the week?
Yeah, going to have to give an honourable mention to Moni Ho's Chelsea, as per usual. Flop of the season for them. Bit too early for that, but I'm pretty sure that'll be come the end of the year. It probably will be them. But yeah, my actual flop of the weeks for this week are all the teams that were dumped out by lower league teams in the FA Cup. You know, whether it was non-league or whatever. Honourable mentions there to Eastleigh and Barnsley as well, the ones that I didn't chuck in before. So yeah, all of the teams that were dumped out by lower teams in the FA Cup, really. And that's with an honourable mention to Chelsea too.
I hear that. Chelsea fans at the moment have got to be thinking,
tell me I did not just see that.
In terms of their league position, they've got to be thinking that. Because, hey, Chelsea as defending champions, their league position deserves the rating of
-5 stars.
It is one of them. But you know what? It is one of them ones where we are at an end. For today's show, we are at an end. And as much as we don't like to go, we do have to start vacating the place with a haste. So it is one of them ones where it's time for...
Hi, I'm John Sitton, and I'm here with Gavin, Liam and Gerald on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinion.
Yes, my name is Christian Carambeu.
I'm grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hi, I'm Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan, and you're listening to Pitch Talk, the only place for footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I'm Adam, Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Rob Lusher, former chairman of Ibis FC.
I'm Samir Sonley, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you're listening
to Pitch Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man, and Jazzy Fizzle proudly bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions. Why? Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And of course, the pitch is where we talk. It's been an absolute pleasure on this Monday, 9th of November 2015 to bring you your Monday night footballing fix. It's been fun. We've had serious debate. We've had fun debate. And no, I'm not finishing that off. The only debate we didn't do was not going that way. Kerbal Rallen was strike one. Not going down that way. But it is was the only thing. No, you guys are terrible in the Skype chat. Don't encourage it. But no, it is one of them ones where, hey, we've had a lot of fun. www.pitch-talk.com is the official website. Check out the website and find out about everything Pitch Talk. Also, facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution. We're working so hard to create. pitchtalk.blogspot.com or .co.uk will get you to the blogs by yours truly, Straight Shooting LJ, the G-Man, Jazzy Fizzle, and many others, including Dave Mear, aka at Mearcy on Twitter, with his word of a ref as well. Very interesting blog, combing over the refereeing decisions. It's one of them ones. But also youtube.com/Pitch Talk is where you can find all of our videos including the Pitch Talk Meet series, the Pitch Talk at the Cup Final series, including you, the fans. It's one of them ones. We like to get the fans involved as much as possible as well. We are also on Skype too. Speaking of getting the fans involved, big shout outs to Lilia Lumi, Ryan Sonley, Kieran Riley, Mike Harniman, Russ Vernon, and Brad Hicks, and also JBK, aka Jamie Bailey, for briefly joining us on Skype as well. We are Pitch Talk 1 on Skype. We are Pitch Talk Live on Google Plus, and we are at Pitch Talk on Instagram as well. We're on there too. Also, Also, 07535804466 is the mobile number. Call us, text us, let us know your views. Big shout out to Tom Wood. He gave us a little quick ring pre-show. If you text, please leave your name at the end of the text so we can shout you out. It is one of them. Big shout out to Big T as well. You know what? It is one of them ones where, yeah, we've had a lot of fun. Had some serious chat during the international break. We're still here. We are still here, and we've got more special feature segments lined up for the international break as well. So it's one of them ones. We ain't going nowhere. We can't be stopped now because it's pitch talk for life. It is one of them ones where, yeah, as I said, it is a case of with Pitch Talk, your Monday Night Footballing Fix. We still need your help to spread the word and get the show growing. So iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomatic, Spreaker, and TuneIn Radio is where we podcast. Those are the 5 places where we podcast. Give us a rating, give us a review, put a comment as well. It's one of them. It all helps the show grow. Also on YouTube at youtube.com/Pitch Talk. Check out the videos, share the links, share the podcast links. It all helps. So we need your help to grow and bring you better content. So it is we the people for the people, because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And of course, the pitch is where we talk. I've been straight shooting LJA.
And I've been the G-Man with the ghost of Jezzy.
On behalf of all 3 of us, we say thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next week. Good night.